What if, beneath the frozen surface of Europa, an ancient city has been sleeping for millions of years? What if it's not abandoned, but waiting? For decades, scientists have gazed at Jupiter's icy moon, imagining oceans hidden under its crust, oceans that could harbor simple microbes or something far more complex. But what if we've been asking the wrong question? What if Europa isn't just a home for life, but a birthplace? Imagine towers of black stone, untouched by time, glowing faintly beneath miles of ice. Imagine walls that repair themselves, streets that hum with an invisible pulse, and a silence so deep you can feel it in your bones. And then, imagine drilling through that ice, only to realize you've awakened something that remembers you, something that knows who you are because it was here long before you existed. If such a city exists, what built it? Why is it still active? And most importantly, what happens when it decides to wake up? Europa, one of Jupiter's largest moons, may be the most promising place in our solar system to search for life beyond Earth. From the outside, it looks like a frozen wasteland, its surface a vast, fractured shell of ice stretching thousands of miles. But beneath that icy crust lies something extraordinary: an ocean. This is no small body of water. Scientists estimate it could be over 100 kilometers deep, containing more than twice the volume of all of Earth's oceans combined. And unlike the frozen seas of our polar regions, Europa's ocean is kept liquid by the gravitational pull of Jupiter, which creates intense tidal flexing. This flexing generates heat, fueling hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, just like the ones on Earth where life first emerged. On Earth, these vents are oases of life. Entire ecosystems thrive there, completely independent of sunlight, relying instead on chemical energy. If such vents exist on Europa, they could be home to anything from simple microbes to complex multicellular organisms. But Europa holds another mystery: strange electromagnetic signatures, rhythmic like a heartbeat, detected beneath the ice. Some scientists dismiss it as geological activity. Others whisper about the possibility of artificial structures built by something that once called Europa home. And if that's true, then the ocean of Europa is not just a cradle for life. It might be a vault, holding the remnants of an ancient civilization. On Earth, every city tells a story of time. The ruins of Babylon, the stone faces of Easter Island, the sunken temples of Angkor, all bear the marks of weather, erosion, and the slow decay of centuries. Even our most enduring monuments eventually crumble under the relentless march of nature. But imagine a city that does not age. Deep beneath Europa's ice, the structures are flawless. No cracks, no signs of collapse. Black towers stand as if they were built yesterday, their surfaces smooth and seamless, faintly glowing from within. Streets remain perfectly aligned, as if waiting for footsteps that have not echoed in millions of years. This is the first difference. Time has no power here. On Earth, nature reclaims. On Europa, something preserves. The second difference is even stranger. Earth's ancient cities were made by human hands: cut stone, carved wood, molded clay. The city beneath Europa appears grown rather than built. Its walls curve like the shells of living creatures. Its surfaces pulse faintly, as though it has veins. It feels less like architecture and more like a living organism. If true, this would mean Europa's city is not simply the work of engineers, but the creation of a civilization that fused biology and technology into one seamless form. A city that heals itself, breathes in the dark, and waits. And here lies the unsettling thought: if the city is alive, then perhaps it can decide who walks its streets. In 2137, after decades of speculation and unmanned probes, humanity finally sent a crew to touch Europa's hidden ocean. The mission, codename Aegis 9, was simple in design, but monumental in ambition: drill through the ice, collect samples, and search for life. The crew was small but precise. Dr. Lin An, exoarchaeologist, convinced that alien civilizations have left traces within our solar system. Lieutenant Marcus Hale, mission commander, trained to neutralize threats before they escalate. Kira Navarro, bioengineer, carrying the personal scars of losing her family in a failed space colonization project. For weeks, the Aegis 9 drilled through kilometers of ice. Sensors picked up faint vibrations, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat, coming from far below. Then, on day 47, the drill broke through into open water. Cameras descended, revealing towers. Black, seamless spires rose from the ocean floor, glowing faintly from within. Streets curved between them, perfectly preserved. No sediment, no algae, no sign of erosion. The city looked impossibly alive. Protocol demanded caution. But in exploration, caution often loses to curiosity. The crew piloted their submersible down into the city, drifting past buildings that seemed to watch them. Somewhere in the deep, a pulse echoed through the hull. It wasn't geological. It wasn't random. It was answering them. What if the city beneath Europa's ice is not abandoned, but sleeping? And what if our arrival is the alarm clock? Inside the Black Towers, the crew of Aegis 9 found no bodies, no artifacts, only silence and architecture that seemed to respond to their presence. When Kira touched a glowing pillar, the city stirred. Cracks sealed themselves. Collapsed archways rose upright. The soft hum in the water grew louder, synchronizing with the crew's heartbeats. Dr. Lin An noticed patterns in the city's walls, shapes identical to segments of human DNA. His mind wrestled with the impossible. Could this place be connected to humanity's origin? Could we be the descendants of those who built it? Marcus Hale wasn't convinced. If they're our ancestors, he said, why are they gone? And what makes you think they'll welcome us back? Then came the signal, clear, deliberate, resonating through the ocean like a voice without words. Lin An didn't just hear it, he understood it. The message was simple. You are the echo. We are the voice. The city was no ruin. It was a living machine, built to restore its creators when the time was right. And now, with humans standing in its streets, it had begun the process. But the process didn't require two species. It required one. The crew of Aegis 9 left Europa in silence. Official reports listed the mission as inconclusive, blaming equipment failure for the premature return. But the truth was far more unsettling. Dr. Lin An avoided medical scans on the trip back to Earth. He knew something had changed. In quiet moments, he could hear the city's pulse, not in the distance, but inside his own chest. Sometimes, in the reflection of the ship's glass, his eyes seemed to glow faintly, like the towers beneath the ice. If the city was a living machine designed to restore its creators, then it had already begun. And Lin An, or perhaps all of them, might now be part of that restoration. The question is no longer whether life exists on Europa. We have our answer. The real question is this: when that life comes to reclaim what it believes is rightfully its own, will humanity fight to keep its place, or step aside for the original inhabitants? And maybe the most disturbing thought is not that they are coming back, but that they never truly left. Perhaps the echoes we heard under Europa's ice weren't calling us to them. Perhaps they were already inside us, waiting for the right moment to speak.